Murphy's Builder Supply is where you need to go for all your home improvement projects and hardware needs. They've been serving folks in this area since 1946. Murphy's offers some products and services that you may not know about. They now sell ammunition, both bullets and shells. Murphy's also sells personalized tags for dog collars. They build customized screens for windows and doors. Murphy's can rekey locks, and of course they can make keys. They cut glass for windows, plus Murphy's has monthly doorbuster specials. Check their Facebook page to see what's on sale. Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jessup.
Big Dog Country, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup. Good morning, Butch Shepard here with you along with Bob Morgan here on this Tuesday morning, the 6th day of March. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Black Cheer, by Jessup Premium Storage, by Republic Services, and also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup. Bob, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we got Blake Tiller on the phone with us. Blake, how you doing today?
Good morning, Bob. Just another day. Another rainy day in Atlanta.
Yeah, we got good weather here, but the big news out of Atlanta, we got the announcement yesterday, or the word that Chad Nimmer's not running for re-election. So, your thoughts on that? How surprising was that?
Well, I was in a committee meeting with him last night at 5:30, and he didn't say anything to me, so I hadn't talked to him yet, but I've started to hear the rumors y'all are. I'm going to look for him this morning and make sure it's true. But
it's true. He's posted already. It's not rumor, it's fact. He's not seeking re-election, so I'm just curious if you know of anybody else interested in that position in this area.
Well, I don't. No one's called me to talk to me. I will tell you this. Chad is a team player, and he has been a strong team player with me and Representative Wertheiser fighting every day for folks in Wayne County, Long County, Pierce, and Appleton. And, I mean, heck, we had a huge win yesterday that I was actually talking to him about. And again, that's why I'm waiting to talk to him, because I was in a committee meeting with him at 5:30, and we were dealing with FLIPA monies most of the day, and he was instrumental. We're going to put $60 million in the budget for FLIPA. That's going to fully fund it. You've heard issues with the Wayne County Commissioners for a long time about the state not funding its share, and Bill Wertheiser and Chad Nimmer got that money in and made it happen. So, yeah, we talked all day yesterday, and it never came up.
Well, that's good news about the FLIPA money. We know we've been through, last time we talked to you, it was getting ready to crossover day. So crossover day is taking place. Tell us what kind of the major legislation's crossed over and what's going to be passed before the session's over.
Said, the House Senate is probably 150-ish bills. Of those, 40 of them, a little more than 40, were assigned to Judiciary Committee. That's my busiest committee. So if you looked at my desk right now in Atlanta, where I'm sitting right now looking at it, I've got 3 resolutions on one side and about 42 bills stacked up on the other that I'm trying to flip through and make sure that I have some good understanding before we vote on these things. The other big news last week, of course, was what happened with the tax cut. First time we've reduced income taxes on the state level since the 1930s, reducing the top end rate from 6% down to 5.5 over 2 years. And in that, of course, everyone talked about things that might have happened with Delta, and that package was rolled in, roughly a $50 million fuel tax cut as well, aviation fuel, jet fuel. So that became the big story most of last week. A lot of that was maybe some misinformation, but the true information, the thing that I think folks care about the most is we've cut income taxes in Georgia by $1 billion a year. That's something that folks will feel in their pockets, whether they're shopping in Surrency or shopping in Screven. And that's a big deal. It's a huge win, and I hope that's something. I know that's something that what you said about Chad, again, holds up to be true, is something that I know he'll be glad and count as part of his big legacy as well.
Again, how many more days in the session? I know it's winding down, right?
Yeah, we got 10 more left, but those 10 are going to drag out over the next 3 weeks. March 29th is the last day. In fact, I just got as I'm sitting here right now, I just got a text from Chad, so I bet I know what that's going to be about when I call him after this. But anyway, 10 more days, over the next 20th days, and we'll adjourn here March the 29th and head back to our day jobs.
Give us your crystal ball. What major legislation is going to be passed and signed by the governor what's going to be when you look back on this session, what's going to be known for?
Yeah, well, there's still a lot to go, and again, a lot of it's stuck in judiciary, everything from the hidden predator bill, which you may have heard about. I think you talked to me about hands-free driving at one point in time. Again, that's in judiciary. That's one of these other ones laying on my desk now. But no matter what we do, it's all going to get overshadowed by the first tax cut since the 1930s, the first income tax cut. That's going to overshadow everything. There was something that happened yesterday that folks have forgotten about. It's pretty big in January, but it's not, it's not on the hot button issues anymore here in March. But yesterday the governor signed HB 159, which is the adoption bill. It's something that you and I talked about over several months. And the governor went ahead, pulled that bill out, signed it earlier. And that's final. That's final now. So, again, it just shows how quickly things up here change. When that was the issue, it was the tension point for a good 6 weeks. Now folks have moved on, and, I don't know how much press it's even going to get that 159 was signed yesterday.
County Commissioners talked last night about a House bill, about host fees for landfills going to the fees from $1 to $3. Where's that at? Is that going to pass?
They're talking about it as a House bill. It's actually there may be a House component to it, but there was a Senate bill sponsored by my friend Burt Jones. It would raise that fee, like you said, from $1 to $3. It's a big deal for Wayne County, of course, with Broadhurst. It's a big deal for the only other county that has that landfill operating right now is going to be over in Toombs. And again, it's so much more. What it would mean to Toombs is pennies compared to what it would mean to Wayne. Wayne has y'all know Broadhurst is so big. It's on the Jacksonville flight pattern. And again, I think that would be something along with getting a slip of money that would really alleviate a lot of the budget concerns that folks in Wayne County are feeling right now. And I'm proud of Mr. Ed Jeffers coming in and trying to do the right things. Herschel Hires, we've been speaking with them on about a bi-daily basis because they really do want to do what's right for the folks they represent and the folks we represent as well.
You mentioned they put the money in the budget for flip. How soon do you get the check? That's always been the problem as well. Yeah. The money's there, but we don't ever get a check. So when do we get the check?
Well, here's the good part about that. It wasn't put in the 20. So right now we're in the year 2018, but as you know, we're in the puts us in the we're working on the 2019 fiscal year budget. Instead of putting it in the 2019 budget, they put it in the amended 18 budget. So that helps speed up that process as well. So I imagine that the Senate approved the House's amendments to the Senate version. I know that gets kind of confusing, but basically the legislature finished its part yesterday. It lays there for the governor's signature, and as soon as that's signed, those monies will clearly be dispersed by June 30th because that's the end of the fiscal year.
And will that bring everybody up to date and make it where it's a year-by-year thing? So it's always been a year behind. Is it going to bring you back to schedule? I think you will still see it paid out in the back end of the year, but the issue we had is we were actually several years behind. It wasn't just a 1 year behind. It was a several years behind. And so that's been working that out so it goes back to the way it was planned when the legislation was originally introduced and enacted. Go back to the texting and driving. You mentioned that's still being discussed. Do you see that being passed, or is there still some legal ramifications?
It had a lot of debate on the House side. We're again looking at a crystal ball. I don't see as much of as many questions about that on the Senate side. The only thing I've heard some of my colleagues bring up is making sure that folks who are using their phone for navigation purposes, you don't want to end that. Folks who are answering their phone by matching a button on their steering wheel, etc., while still driving, that's a huge part of business now, commerce. They get it about the texting, they get it about the hands-free, but making sure that they're not so broad in the legislation that it hurts what average person would say is probably a safe act. The thing that I heard yesterday is that folks, the way the bill's written now, and I can't say that it does this or not, but one of the comments I heard from a colleague was that it would actually make it illegal to be wearing an Apple Watch while you're driving. Well, of course, if that's the case, we need to fix that. No one thinks you shouldn't be able to wear the Apple Watch. Now, should you be able to answer the text messages and reply on the Apple Watch? I don't think we're there either. We don't want that to happen. But, you know, wearing it shouldn't be a crime.
As you mentioned, 10 days left, so give us a rundown. What takes place in these final 10 days?
Right now, you're basically reviewing exclusively House bills. So for the Senate, it becomes a lot busier because, remember, there's 180 House members. There's only 56 of us on the Senate side. Mainly the Senate is passing Senate bills for the first 28 days. Mainly the House is passing House bills for the first 28 days. So when that crossover hits, they don't have quite as many bills to go through as we do with less number of people. So reviewing House bills, committee days, today is actually an off day, quote unquote, for the legislature. We're not in session, but I have 6 committee meetings, which will take, 2 of them are budget committee meetings. So that, I mean, they will be here till, I'd say 6:30ish tonight, most likely, on the off day. And then we'll go back into session tomorrow. We'll vote out a few bills. We'll come back and take Thursday off again. Thursday, I said taking it off from session, but it'll be a committee day. And I imagine we'll have another 5-ish to 6-ish committee meetings then, and then be in session on Friday. And it sort of hops like that every other day until we run up to sine die. Again, the reason being is you're trying to make sure you have your committee meetings and that you have people who can be there, because if we're in session, you can't have the committee meeting. If you don't have the committee meeting, then the bill can't pass out of committee to ever make it to the floor. So, again, it becomes a little bit more of a hopscotchy type thing, but a lot more work. It gets a lot busier, as you already alluded to.
Okay, Blake, again, we appreciate you being here Tuesdays with Tillery.
Blake, Butch over here. Somebody had texted in a question, and see if you know anything about it. Apparently, a bill possibly had crossed over, I don't know the details on this, about House Bill 624 to increase retirement for state legislators. Do you know anything about that? Somebody texted that in to us this morning. It's up on the screen here.
I don't yet. Again, it must have been, it probably wasn't assigned to Judiciary Committee.
Okay.
So I don't know what committee it went to.
Oh, we can
answer retirement. It probably went to Ellis Black, and that person wants to call me or me to connect them with Ellis Black. I certainly don't mind. Ellis represents Valdons, but he's a South Georgia boy like us, so if I can get them towards him to help answer their question, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, and maybe Bill will know something about it tomorrow, being a House bill. And but that's somebody to text that in. Folks, you can always text in questions or comments at our regular line, 912-427-3711. On the phone with us this morning, State Senator Blake Tillery, Tuesdays with Tillery. We know you got a very busy day, Blake, and we wish you the best over the next several days as the state legislature gets through on March 29th, didn't you say?
March 29th. And again, thank y'all so much for allowing me to do this. And if anyone has any questions in the meantime, the number up here where I'm sitting right now is 404-656-0089 or blake.tillery@senate.ga.gov. Again, thank y'all for allowing me to have time on your show every Tuesday morning during the session, and it's just a pleasure to represent you down in Wayne County.
All right, thank you, Blake.
Y'all have a great morning.
You too. All righty, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup, 13 minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday morning, 6th day of March. And Bob's good. The state senator can call in there at his desk getting ready for committee meetings.
I said we appreciate him taking every Tuesday morning, giving Bill Workhauser Wednesday mornings, and they update on what's going on up in Atlanta with the session. So 10 days and counting before it's all said and done.
Yeah, they'll have days in session, days out of session like today, so it'll take them the rest of the month basically to get in those 10 days of session, with the other days basically being committee meetings.
For Wayne County, I guess the big news is the FLIPA. It's nice to see that they're going to address that. Like I know our county commissioners have been in contact with all 3 of our representatives. Ed Jeffers has been up, they traveled to Atlanta, they discussed how important that FLIPA money is. If you're going to give it to us, we need it.
So what's going on with Chad Nimber here? That just kind of takes me by surprise that he's not seeking re-election. Did you get a release or just word? What?
He posted and called yesterday to announce that he's not running and seeking re-election. He wants to spend more time with his family and business, and just decided it's time to step down, so he's not seeking re-election.
So more time with business and family and not up there under the Gold Dome.
Yeah, appreciate him calling yesterday, give us that information. So It's not rumor, it's fact.
Yeah.
I heard from the horse's mouth. He's not seeking a re-election.
Well, we've heard that before and seen that before with other state legislators, Senator Williams, several other ones that have done it through the years. They put in several different terms and decide that's it. I want to spend more time on my business with family, because when you're a state legislator, just because the session ends at the end of March, your work is 365 days a year.
And it's a good thing for most people who don't believe in career politicians. A lot of people believe in term limits. So he's served his term. He's served several terms. He's fixing to step aside and do something else. So wish him the best of luck. But he's been a good representative for us. He's been a good friend to us. So you're going to miss the peanuts, pies, and politics event.
I know.
So.
Yeah, he's had that for several years down there. So there'll be political jockeying for who's going to be running. You're talking about part of Wayne County, Pierce County, and I'm not sure if it's all of Brantley County or not. But you've got those different counties that this state legislature that Chad represents, and so will some folks from Wayne County run? Some folks from Pierce County would, maybe Nahum. Any names or rumors that you've heard so far, Bob?
I've heard one. Probably talking to him today. So
okay. And so as soon as we find out who may be throwing their hat into the ring there, now, and of course that's elections this year. I mean, you've got to get a campaign together very quickly because the primaries come up in June, July, May, somewhere along there.
May 22nd.
May 22nd. So you're talking about a short time period to get a political campaign put together and try to win your party's nomination. Jeez, that's a short time period to get that done. But you'll have them get it all put together, and campaigns will be run between now and the end of you said May 22nd, and then whoever wins the party nomination at that time will go on to face each other in the general election in November. Did that take you by surprise?
Kind of took me by surprise because I didn't hear any inkling that he wasn't thinking about running for re-election. So when he called yesterday, I was kind of taken off guard a little bit because, like I said, it's just going to be wide open now to who. It's going to be a mad dash. Like I said, you're going to have name recognition and political ties to all those counties involved. So it'll be interesting who all decides to put their name in the hat. So we'll see how it goes.
But when will be the cutoff date that you can actually pay your qualifying fee?
I believe this Friday.
This Friday?
I believe.
I was just wondering. It seems like
I don't
Chad
know.
waiting until the last minute here. Is it through?
Qualifying, I don't think it would be the same in coincide. I'm not sure.
You don't know?
It may be different inside.
Okay.
To check with Tammy, she may know that. But the local election's in this Friday at 12 noon, so I'm not sure about the state.
You're not sure about the state when the last day that you can qualify? All right. Bob will go find all that out and find out, when the last day can qualify, find out who's throwing their hat in the ring. To me, it seems like if someone's real serious about it, they'll go ahead and announce this as quick as they possibly can because you've got to get that name out there. You've got to get your campaign put together. You got to have volunteers in every single county that you're going to run because you can't do it all by yourself. It takes a lot of work to run for an office. Whether it's local or state, and this being a statement over, at least 3 counties that I know of, it's going to take quite an effort in a couple of months. So you got March, April, maybe 3 months of campaigning here, or less. But it's just that it does take by surprise because it seems like Chad was like one of these young, up and coming. He was moving up into the hierarchy there, and but I guess staying home with family and running his business is more important.
Got to remember now, there's going to be a new governor as well. He's very close to Governor Deal.
Yes, he was very close to Governor Deal's
reign's come to an end, so
yeah,
I think he just wants to go off the governor.
Okay, that could be that. But I'm sure we'll be talking with Chad and trying to get some more information from him and then find out who's going to run and when qualifying will end and who's going to be running, all that kind of good stuff. And then, come January, we'll have a new state representative for that district. We got some questions that have come in so far this morning. Somebody wants to know what happened to the Jackets this past weekend with the 0-3 record up there in that round robin tournament up in Atlanta.
13 errors.
13 errors. Okay.
That's what happened. Simple as that. When you make errors and get hits, you're not going to win. So pitching was excellent, but the errors cost us. When you you make 13 errors in 3 games, you're not going to win games.
No, especially against the quality of competition up there. That was a tournament which, as you mentioned before you left, is by invite only. They want the best baseball teams up there in this tournament, and they had some great baseball teams. And we, even with the 13 errors, we're still close in all the games.
We had a chance to win all 3 games. The starting pitcher was excellent. Just the combination of the physical and mental errors cost us 3 ball games, plus the bullpen fell apart in the last 2 ball games. So that was the big issue. But again, long season, they went up there to play quality competition. That's what they went for. They got invited. One of the elite teams, and I said it's still plenty to play for, plenty of time to get everything corrected. I just mention all the time, it's a 30-game preseason. The state playoffs don't get underway till after the 30 games. You're in the state playoffs. You're probably going to be ranked number 1 in the region. First 2 rounds of the state playoffs at home.
Right.
Just go from there. You got plenty of time to get it all worked out. And I'm sure Coach McDonald and Mullis and the staff will get them ready to roll. But they got to stop committing errors. I mean, they're making too many errors.
Okay. Just fielding errors, not catching the ball, grounders and stuff like that.
Draw fly balls, miss ground balls, just throwing the ball away. They're playing like little leaguers at the moment, so they got to stop lollygagging, like they say in Bull Durham. They're lollygagging.
They're lollygagging.
Stop lollygagging.
You're lollygagging. That's funny movie.
But again, they had a good competition. Had a chance to win all 3 games. Had the lead in the 2 final games, and as I said, had a 5-1 lead going to the 5th and lost that in extra innings, and they had a 3-0 lead going to the 6th and fell apart, gave up 7 runs in the 6th against Marist. So again, it was just one of those days, one of those weekends. But again, a lot of baseball left. They'll be back in action Thursday, and I'm sure you'll see a different team on the field Thursday.
So is this a region game?
No, region doesn't start a couple weeks away from the region.
Oh, okay. All right.
Play Effingham Thursday at home, Appleton Friday on the road. Then Appleton comes back in town here on the following Monday. So.
Oh, wow. 3 games real close there. Thursday, Friday, and Monday. That's interesting. Appling here on Friday, there on Friday and here on Monday, huh?
Right.
Okay. But Effingham will be here, 6 o'clock. First pitch, I imagine, on Thursday?
Right, 6 o'clock. All the games are at 6. So we played Effingham earlier, beat them 11-2 down there. So they're coming here for the home series. So come on out Thursday night, enjoy some good baseball. But again, no time to panic. And I said, had a chance to win all 3 games. Disappointed we didn't win all 3 games. Nobody's more disappointed than the team. So, but like I said, they got a long way to go. Okay? As Jonathan says, the season will be a third of the way over regular season after this weekend. They'll have 10 games in the book. So 10 games after Thursday, got 30 games on the schedule. Then the state playoffs get underway. But mark it down. Look, we'll be ranked number 1 in the region. We'll play the first 2 rounds at home, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I wish State Representative Chad Nimmer would call in this morning. And so we could talk to him.
I don't think he's doing that. He called me personally.
He called you personally. Okay, so he's waiting to get it all put together for, I guess.
He just wanted me to hear it first.
First what you heard on the streets? Okay, all right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we do appreciate that so much. State Senator Chad Nimmer not going to be running for re-election, so we'll it's going to be interesting to see how many people do run from the different counties for this position for state legislature. Who's going to run the Republican side, who's going to run the Democratic side, and with this primaries coming up on May 22nd, going to have a quick campaign put together there. And let's see here. Somebody wants to know what's going on in the investigation of Scriven. We'll say the same thing that we've said before.
It's ongoing.
GBI is investigating, and as soon as they get any results, they'll pass them along to the county and to the press. So the investigation is ongoing. And you won't hear a word until the investigation is over with.
What I get, they'll have it, they need another month.
Another month?
By the end of this month, we should know something. So. Okay. But they're going through a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation, a lot of interviews. It's a long investigation.
Yeah, doing their due diligence. Okay. And you went to a meeting last night, is that correct?
I went to the county meeting last night.
Okay, what importance came out of that meeting, did you? A couple of top subjects.
Nothing.
Nothing? What do you mean nothing came out of the county council meeting last night? Nothing important, son. Nothing important at all.
The only thing that was interesting, they tabled the tax refund to Weyerhaeuser, saying that they don't have to owe as much money as at first reported, so
Okay.
but they didn't state how much they do owe and where that's going, so they just tabled it, so don't really know.
Okay. So they're going to table that and investigate a little bit more and see exactly how much tax decrease they'll give these folks for a while until it's made up.
We talked about tourism and bringing industry and things like that. You know, they did say that a lot of improvements have been made to the airport. They were complimentary to the airport staff, and we're going out and they painted the gas tanks and did a lot of work and just, you know, did some work inside the building. Just, you know, as Ed Jeffers mentioned, you know, a lot of people fly into the airport and that's their first impression. So they want to make it look as nice as possible. So they went out there and requested that some improvements be made. Those improvements have been made. So Ed Jeffers was complimentary to Mitch Sutton and staff and the people that did the improvements at the airport. So.
Okay, then
It's amazing how, you know, a lot of people don't realize how many planes come in a day to the airport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's just quite a few to come in, and passing by there the other day, and there was actually a small, you know, one of those little small executive jets there. You know, not, you know, prop, but a small executive jet there.
Yes, the big news is Monica Quinn becomes the first female ever to the Board of Assessors. So our congratulations to her.
Congratulations to Monica.
So they said she'd be the first female ever to serve on that tax assessors board. She was appointed last night by James Booth Thomas. So he had to fill an appointment. Conley Williams, as everybody knows from Georgia Power, retired from Georgia Power and moved out of Wayne County. So had to replace him. So Monica Quinn's his replacement. So they mentioned last night she'll be the first female ever in Wayne County to be on the Board of Assessors.
Well, Booth Thomas did a great job of selecting a good person. So Monica will do a great job there on the Board of Assessors. So congratulations to Monica Quinn. Okay.
So I guess that's the big news.
That was the big news. Okay. All right.
If you're looking for any big news, it's kind of reporting. I was trying to stay awake.
You're trying to stay awake. Is anybody had to nod you a little bit sometimes, Bob? Wake you up at a meeting? No, never happened all those years.
I sat by Drew and he had nudged me, so give me a cat nap, so I appreciate it.
I remember one time I was covering a county council meeting when you were out of town, and I had sat next to Drew because they set y'all right up front next to each other. And the pen I was using went dry. And Drew said, always keep two just in case that happens, Butch. And so he gave me his extra. So I appreciated that, Drew. But that is true. As you're taught as a reporter, always have two pens on you, just in case. Okay. And,
good meeting yesterday with Congressman Buddy Carter. All the first district superintendents were on hand, and again, all attended. So we'll hear from Jay Brunson, get his thoughts on that meeting yesterday. Heard from Buddy Carter on the news. You can hear that again on our afternoon newscast, get his thoughts. But we'll hear from Jay Brunson tomorrow. He was on hand for that meeting, so very interested meeting. Like I said, the media wasn't allowed in the meeting, but they got to talk to the people after the meeting. So
this was the school superintendents from all this district just happened to meet here in Jessup.
Right. Okay. And they were all in attendance. Every one of them, from Chatham, Bryan, Bullock,
right,
Long, Brantley.
And I heard that they're not interested in arming any of the teachers any type of way. You know, when President Trump mentioned that, he didn't mean arming all the teachers. He meant taking a handful that would be interested in it to go through the entire training process, just not slapping guns in a desk, and training a handful of them through the school that would be willing to do that. You know, so many people say, oh, you're going to arm the teachers. No, he was talking about a handful in each school that would agree to go through the training, extensive training, to be able to know how to handle those situations. But some people just took it way out of context, like, you know, oh yeah, you're just going to arm them. No. It was supposed to be a well thought out process. But he said that's up to each individual school system. Y'all do what you want. Just, you know, make your schools as safe as possible. Did they come up with any ideas, any suggestions or anything at the meeting about how to improve any of the security situations at schools?
Yeah, just a lot of ideas floated by. You know, like I said, as I mentioned in the interview, anything that you discuss is going to cost money. You know, just looking at schools in Wayne County, like I said, they're just too open, too accessible. And that's the problem. How do you prevent somebody from getting on?
Well, that's what they tried to do with the new schools, is make all the doors closed except for the main one coming in and out.
The ones are a little bit safer, but it's still, you know, just like this school shooting in Florida. I mean, the guy knocked on the door and somebody let him in.
Yeah.
But that's Southern hospitality, like I said.
Yeah.
If you walked up to a school building and knocked on the door, most likely someone's going to let you in.
Well, he's a former student,
I just, like I said, Buddy Carter said it best, it's not a one-issue solution. There's a lot of issues that have to be addressed. So,
and there was a lot of red flags on this student down there in Florida. I mean, the FBI said they did drop the ball on that. I mean, it wasn't just like it came out of the blue. I mean,
it was impressive that, like I said, they didn't give a lot of notice for this meeting, but every superintendent in the first district was in attendance to talk to the congressman. So they stayed behind closed doors for about an hour, 10 minutes, and then, like I said, addressed the media after that. But everybody we talked to said it was a very informative meeting. They appreciate the congressman taking the time to meet with them, and he thanked them for taking their time to come, because, like I said, he wants to hear from them so he can take that information back to Washington. He just wanted to hear from the people that are in charge of schools on what they felt.
Get their ideas, which is the best thing to do.
I thought it was just good to see all the superintendents from the first district in attendance at that meeting yesterday.
Right.
Getting a lot of media publicity. So I believe we'll hear from Jay Brinks and get his thoughts on the meeting tomorrow. We heard from the congressman today. We'll hear from our superintendent tomorrow.
Okay, in the local news, right? Okay, and we should have Wednesday's Werkheiser tomorrow. Bill Werkheiser, for our state representative, one of them, should be called in tomorrow morning, and maybe we can get his thoughts and feelings on Representative Chad Nimber announcing the fact that he's not running for re-election, and what kind of Senate bills the House is looking at now there's been crossover.
And qualifying for local elections continues. Again, all the county commissioners through their incumbents qualified yesterday. There's one contested race at this point. Mike Roberts has opposition from Farrell Cooksey School Board. 3 incumbents qualified. Ray Davison, Sharon Daniel, and Nick Ellis. Bruce Harris, as we told you, qualified in District 2. Janet Royals indicates she's not seeking re-election. Joe McPipkin had the flu yesterday, wasn't able to qualify. He's going to qualify this week in District 1. There's only one contested school board race at this time. After day 1, Albert Kelly qualified to run against Sharon Daniels. So you have, at the moment, you have one contested school board race, one contested county commissioner race, but qualifying runs all the way up to Friday at 12 noon, so there could be more candidates to qualify this week, and we'll keep you posted on that all week long.
Okay. Well, Bob, we're out of time, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on